What's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are tuned in from. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. My name is Kellam. Welcome to the show. Shout out to all the early birds that are here at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and they're here. We have a little pre-stream. Everybody's invited. So if you're watching this later, if you're watching this on Hit Network, if you're watching this on the, not a rerun, but later in the day, get here at the pre-show. We cut this out. You won't see this later because we do edit out the first. Basically, it's essentially just a hold screen. We're chatting. We're talking about what's going on, sharing some jokes. I'm also getting some coin picks from those of you that are early birds. So shout out to each and every single one of you. Throw one in chat if you're feeling grateful today. If you're bullish, throw bull in chat, meaning you think we're going to close the day higher. Throw bearish if you think, we're going to, and this is just on the daily aspect. I'm not talking about overall. I'm incredibly bullish overall, but I do think we're going to get a little bit more of a pullback, and I'm going to be breaking down exactly why. Again, my name's Kellam. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, join us in our community, baby. Get involved. Come on. We got about over 62 or so % of you watch on a daily basis and have not joined us here in the community. So what are you doing with yourself? Make these smart decisions. Shout out to everybody that's been here in chat. We're going to be going ahead and jumping right on into it today. So first things first, we're just taking a little peek at Bitcoin. Bitcoin riding on this level. This is a level I drew somewhere about right here, this orange line here, this horizontal ray. And look at this. We got a wick below it. We've broken down, basically we followed through with the potential close below this. Now let's get down on the 4-hour chart. Let's see what this is looking like. We've had several closes, came up, retested right into the dynamic resistance zone here on the new upgraded BitLab Intelligence. It's not out, it's not available yet, but it will be available soon, mid-August. We're still tuning it up, baby. But we see it got rejected here in this dynamic resistance zone, also in this EMA ribbon. Didn't even push through this EMA ribbon. We're riding right on this line. This is the line I was talking about, was my sort of line in the sand that was indicating to me that the momentum was starting to shift to the downside, AKA the bullish momentum was waning. The bears said, hey, the bulls aren't awake, so it's time for us to wake up a little bit, see what we can do. But we can take advantage of that. We can say, hey, I'm not going to be somebody that capitulates my long-term hold position because this is falling on this very minuscule level. When we see this large uptrend, here that we've been in, and we're just having, consolidating at a very known level, getting a little bit of a pullback. What would that pullback look like? Well, we've talked about it at length on this channel over and over again. But the point is, we basically draw a fib from here. If we, let me go ahead and delete this fib, draw a fib from this level, option F, all the way up to the top here. And we can see the golden pocket. Let's go ahead and mute the volume. The BitLab volume indicator. We see this golden pocket is right in line with these previous highs, as well as having this uptrend level of support right in this zone. This would be my ultimate very bullish target. Why is it bullish if the price pulls back? Because this is what happens in any trend. If you have push-ups, you have pullbacks. If you have breakdowns, and you have relief rallies. So we need to take advantage of that, not be scared if this comes down. This is something, it's a necessary cleansing force in the market to shake out the overexuberant longs. So if you're aware of that, then you could take advantage of this price coming down and not saying, oh my God, and right here, you sell at a level of known support, not only known support, confluent support with multiple different indicators and different data signals, the analytical signals, all coming together in one zone is suggesting that this would be a very good target. It doesn't mean price has to get there. We see where price is right here. We can actually move some of these over a bit like this because the price has sort of graduated, as price moves and as time moves, targets, where those targets may be, may move as well. So if this is the case, if this, because unless barring having, straight down, this would be perfectly in line with this golden pocket. Previous levels all right here, all this volume traded right here, as well as this rising level of support, that price action, if this were to drop straight down, this would be very confluent. But the more likely scenario is that price is going to come like this, boom, 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 work its way down and then get a flush out, something like this. Will this happen? I don't know. But the way the probabilities move and momentum moves and velocity moves, money flow moves. We see the momentum down here. Momentum is just, basically expanding to the downside. Sorry about that. We see volume has fallen off a cliff here. If we turn back on the BitLab volume, we see we're kind of coming into a very light traded zone right here. So where's that next real shelf? It's all the way down here. The shelf is actually below the 618. Do I think we're going to go all the way down below that? I don't think we are. I think there's too much positive narrative in the space. But we're going to look at some charts today. We're going to be looking at a couple on-chain things, some just general metrics. And we're not going to cover a lot of news today because a lot of it is just complete regurgitation of different points on the same facts we all know. So barring any sort of big news development during the stream, we're going to be breaking down the charts and the data that's basically indicating where momentum, where strength is, what the outlook is on these markets. So again, if you haven't yet, my name's Kellam. If this is your first time here, I guarantee it's not going to be your last time here. There's all my info. We're going to be breaking this down right now. So let's get into it. First step, make sure you're coming over here following me at Kellam. That's Kelly, Kellam. Look for this blue check and the hit logo. Remember, I spell these out because there's so many scammers out there. Make sure you're giving me a follow here. We're going to be breaking down some of the things I've been sharing lately. Also, make sure, if you haven't yet, come over here. Join us on Twitter at Academy BitLab. Give us a follow. Hit this retweet. Hit this like button. This enters you to win as well. We draw the winners every Friday from the people that are participating in our community here. So shout out to everybody that's been involved now for 6 months. We got a lot of OGs in the house. If you're an OG, throw OG in chat. But why don't we just go ahead and get into what we want to talk about today? All right. So first things first, let's just go ahead and pull this up. Let's kind of just take a little gander, if you will. Let me move my mouse over here. Here we go. Take a little gander, if we will, at just reminding ourselves the strength of buying with strategy and selling with strategy, not buying hype and selling fear. That's not a strategy. That is a recipe to donate your money to somebody that already has a lot more money than you. If you buy hope and sell fear, then you are a dumb trader. And this is not a slight on any of you, because all of us can be dumb. I have been dumb as hell in the past. I've been dumb enough that I've learned from it. And that's one of the sort of focuses on this channel, is to throw that rope back to beginners. The whole mission of this channel is to bridge a gap from beginner to pro. So we have absolute alpha pro grade content on this channel, but we like to throw back that rope to beginner and also remind people that have been in the markets for a while, let's stay humble. I'm learning every day. I could always be better. And I am not the best, but I have a lot of experience, and I want to share some of the silly decisions I've made with all of you so that you don't make those silly decisions. And this is why I outline this map here. I'm going to take my face off the chart so you can see this specifically. Just take a second. Many of you have already seen this chart. Great. Let's revisit it again. Pros always revisit and focus on making sure that the basics are perfect. If you understand the basics, then you can move on to other more advanced things. And even when you become more advanced, revisit the basics. And in this case, the basics are smart money buys these market cycle lows. They start scaling in somewhere usually around in this zone. If we're thinking of this like a market cycle, they start scaling in or just being aware that they're scaling and might be coming soon. We see this base formed. What is this? This entire downtrend on Bitcoin, the function of it is to shake out as many of the short-term holders, weak holders, people that bought the hype. They don't have conviction to hold through this. They think, oh, this is down forever. So they'll buy here and sell down here. And what's happening to the people that are buying in this region? These people bought in the last cycle low and sold their bags up here, or bought anywhere here or here and have been selling up here. So this smart money is taking profits. And another way to think about that is this taking of profits is offloading their bags to people that are trading without a strategy. And then, so the dumb money buys up here, the hype cycle buyers with no conviction. You see this? And then maybe they hold through this dip. But I guarantee you, 99% of these people that bought here did not buy back down here and lower their average entry. What do I mean by that? If you buy something at 60,000 and it drops down here to 31,000, say you bought one Bitcoin, you're like, oh my God, it dropped by half. If you buy another Bitcoin down here at 31,000, you're buying it for half the price. And now you've effectively lowered your average entry to whatever 50% of this is. If it's one Bitcoin here, one Bitcoin here, even though the prices are different, because this price is so much lower than this one, it's whatever the halfway point between these two. If you're doing one for one, that's your new average entry. And what that means is now when price goes up, it only has to go up half as far for you to break even to start being in profit. Similarly, if somebody bought up here, hype buyers with no conviction, if you bought up here and you bought down here, so you bought $68,000, say you bought this top, $68,250, and then you bought down here at $15,000, that's a huge spread. So if you bought one Bitcoin here and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? Somebody told my friend, my neighbor, or some YouTuber told me to buy. Nobody told you to buy up here, unless they were saying if you're a long-term holder and you're going to hold it for 10 years, it's always is a good time to buy. However, if you buy here, one Bitcoin, $68,000, why would you, if you were going to buy here, why would you not be interested in Bitcoin at 15,000? Now you've lowered your average entry. If we divide this by half, it'd be somewhere around, somewhere in this, I don't even know where it would be. What's 68,000? What's halfway point? What's a halfway point between 68,000 and 15,000? It'd be about 34,000, 32,000, something like that. But point being is now price only has to achieve this level to break even on the total asset investment that you have in Bitcoin. So we want to pay attention to, remember this, we want to pay attention to when we do make poor decisions, or maybe we did, get triggered by emotions and we bought the hype, which happens to even the most professional traders sometimes, because they think, they're sure it's going to go to 100,000 or whatever it is, whatever the asset is, whatever the prices are. If we look at if we make a stupid decision, it doesn't mean we failed, we should never do this again. It means, how do we get back on the bike? How do we get back up? How do we rectify this decision and turn this into something that we can salvage and make good on? If you ever buy an asset, and I'm not talking about something like Luna, where say you bought and even it was in a dip on that asset and then the entire project collapses, that's not something, excuse me, that's not something that you DCA into and lower your average entry. That's a project you exit. But something like Cardano, Algorand, AVAX, Polygon, name Ethereum, Bitcoin, Quant, the Graph, AGIX, all these projects that are actively building, we're seeing increases in their address growth. We're seeing sort of sustainability through market cycle trends, price action going up and down, sure, but maybe you bought a top on one of these. Well, you can use this map. This isn't meant to be for Bitcoin. Think of this as like a market cycle low, mid-market cycle high, market cycle pullback, market cycle high, market cycle low, and it's going to repeat, rinse and repeat over and over on every asset. We're going to have highs, lows, push-ups, retracements, breakdowns, relief rallies. How do we take advantage of all this? Well, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, one of the things we want to really pay attention to, especially in the crypto ecosystem, is the fact that if Bitcoin is the safest asset within the digital ecosystem with all the crypto, why? Because it has the largest market cap as well. The crypto market cap for Bitcoin is exponentially larger the further you go down the coin market cap rankings. But in addition to that, it also is incredibly decentralized, as it, the distribution is beautiful, especially compared to the majority of other altcoins out there with a lot of early investors or, very large holders disproportionately holding it as compared to retail. But we're also seeing there's a very likely shift coming in the near future as institutions pour in, as ETFs get approved. So now is the time. And if Bitcoin is the safest asset comparatively with a lot of the other assets in the digital asset ecosystem, yes, we want to get rich. Yes. But remember, ask yourself why. Why do you want to get rich? You want to get rich to have more capital and assets to make sure you can take care of your family and not have your time stolen from you working for somebody else and, you know, working 80 hours doing something you don't care about. No, we want to find investments that really supercharge our ability to have that time and freedom and make the decisions of of what we want to do, having financial sovereignty, right? So in order to do that, we also have to think, if my why is to have more assets and capital to live a freer life and take care of my friends and family, or at least have the capital to do so if I should so choose, then shouldn't we also want to protect that journey? And what I mean by protect is, if you have $50,000 in your life savings and you're like, okay, crypto is the way to go. The way to do that isn't trying to catch up to Bitcoin by buying an asset that's $1 because, oh man, that asset is so much cheaper than Bitcoin. If it only goes to the price of Bitcoin, well, one, you didn't do your damn education, because most assets aren't going to go to the price of Bitcoin. Because, for instance, Cardano, if you're buying Cardano because it's 30 cents and you're like, man, if this goes to the price of Bitcoin, it's not going to. Cardano has over 49 billion tokens. Bitcoin has 21 million that will ever be mined. And yes, there's also been some loss. So it's probably going to be something like now, probably about there's, I think, over 19 million that are currently mined and in circulation. But, you know, it's argued that probably somewhere between 4 and 7 have been lost forever. So it's actually deflationary alone, just on that fact alone. So if you have 49 billion coins, let's do the math really quick. Let's go ahead to go to Google. I'm going to go to Google and type Google calculator. Okay, we're going to do 49 billion, 49, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Oh, I can't type. 49 million, 100,000. Here we go. Is that right? This is thousands, millions, billions. Okay, 49 times, let's even do it at this price right now, 30, 1, 2, 3, 30,000. This would be, this is so much money. Like this would eclipse every asset class on the planet. So understand your tokenomics and the way assets break down. Okay. So this is what it would be, 1.47 with the exponent of 15. Okay. It's like, it's so big it won't even fit on the screen. Okay. On this calculator. Point being here is, we need to protect our capital while also risking it. And so if we're involved in this ecosystem, trading these different assets, trying to identify what different levels are, first off, we need to make sure we have Bitcoin in our portfolio, but also when we are trading, we like different assets, and there are some altcoins that I do have plans to hold long term, but I still have a disproportionately large amount of Bitcoin in my holdings. But what I want to do is I want to look at this chart and go, okay, this is what Bitcoin's doing. This is giving me a good barometer of what the health of the market is currently in terms of, you know, is risk on or risk off in crypto? Well, if Bitcoin's going up, risk is on. If crypto's coming down, if Bitcoin's coming down, then very likely that the risk is off. Now, there's a lot of other metrics that we break down on a daily basis, or also weekly or daily basis. The dollar index, what's going on with S&P 500, what's going on with the yield inversions on stocks, on interest rates and bonds, what's going on with the USDT dominance. Yes, that's when we're getting more advanced. But if you want to look at it at the most basic level, if Bitcoin is if Bitcoin is having its own recession, if Bitcoin is having its own bear market, then that's very likely going to be exponentially the case with altcoins. Now, when Bitcoin is in a bull market, you can have push-ups and pullbacks, but you'll also see certain coins. Also, this is the fact here, because Bitcoin's market cap is so disproportionately larger than all the other altcoins, further down the list you go, the more disproportionate that is, right? Then that also means that there's a lot less liquidity in those altcoins. And it also means that, yes, those altcoins may be able to have significantly higher growth rate than Bitcoin. The point is, when can we identify when those moments are? So before we dive into that, let's kind of go through a couple of these charts, setting up the context, and then we're going to break down all this TA. And before we really get into that, how is everybody doing? How are you feeling? How are you looking? How's your legs feeling good? Your arms feeling good? You feeling loose? You feeling happy at the chart? You feeling frustrated? We got to ask ourselves these things. And if you're feeling anything that's not positive in your spirit, in your body, in your, all the things, then you need to, tackle that shit. If you're just asking yourself, how do I make more money, but you're not trying to figure out how you can fix the engine, then, it's very unlikely that you're going to get to the finish line. It's like, think of trading and investing as like you're a professional athlete, because when you are involved in these markets, when you're involved in these, looking at charts, trying to trade, trying to find the right trade to make, you are competing with the world's best and artificial intelligence and algorithms, MBAs, finance people, the entire teams at Goldman Sachs. You're competing with every single one of them. So you are competing with the world's best. So you also need to give yourself every edge you can. And some of that is having a good night's sleep so you can be rested, so you can make smart decisions. Doing some push-ups in the morning, doing some sit-ups. If you can't do that, get on a rowing machine. If you can't do that, grab some water, some water jugs and lift those. Whatever you can do, get your body moving so you're not messing up your machine, because this is a machine that makes all the decisions, right? So let's go ahead and go through some of these things that I wanted to talk about here. Again, if you haven't yet, go over to Academy BitLab, hit that follow, hit that retweet, hit that like, get involved. You also will be entered to win. We draw on Fridays. Now let's go ahead and go through the things that we wanted to go through. All right. So first things first, Bitcoin. Even though I'm talking about a potential pullback that could be happening, I'm so bullish on the rest, on the cycle. Even if we go sideways from here, I don't care. Anything that happens between now and March, April of next year, when the Bitcoin halving happens, anything that happens with price action not going to the moon means that you've got another opportunity to get involved with your freaking future. So get involved. Stop being a crybaby if price pulls back. Say, oh my God, that's another opportunity. That's what we need to have. That's the mindset. Smart money, wealthy people, they don't care about a recession. They don't care about markets falling in terms of a negative way. They say, ooh, I get to siphon off some more of that money from other people who are dumb so I could put it in my account, because they're looking for opportunities. They have dry powder on the side. They're seeing strategy. So looking at this, I was talking about the golden pocket pullback that could happen. That is down to, what level is this? This is right in the 27.5 to 20. Let's call it 27.5 to 28.5, somewhere in that region. If price pulls back, is that like, oh my God, it's the end of this run, is breaking down? Doesn't mean that. We'll talk about that if price breaks down beyond this and loses this level at basically $25,000. If it loses this level, we're going to be having a lot more chop, and I don't want to call it suppression, but there's going to be a huge amount of positive sentiment that's going to be deflated out of the market. But as it stands right now, if we lose this level and bounce it anywhere in this trajectory, I can speak, anywhere in the trajectory above this large support line here, then this is incredibly bullish. This is, think of it as them pulling the slingshot back to then basically be a spring to jump off of to really get the ball rolling. And by the way, I don't need the price to come down. I don't need that to happen. I'm prepared for it based on this pushing up, consolidating, and now look at this. Now we're getting a lower low here. We've talked about this before. A lower low when you're having any sort of price action on an upside or consolidation. Once you've had higher lows, like basically coming up here, and all of a sudden we're getting right here in this region right here. We get this price action breaks down below this. Now we're getting a lower low. The question here is going to be, either we're going to continue down and we already have our targets identified, okay? Or we're going to bounce at this level, which doesn't necessarily mean full bull yet, because if we bounce at this level and we're not able to overtake this level, then we have a lower low and followed by a lower high, which further confirms that we'd be coming down. So understand the things as they're developing. Now, getting back to this chart, what this chart signifies, this is a 3-week chart of the crypto total market cap. And this is, basically all the crypto out there that are aggregated into this. And we're seeing Bollinger Bands on this, which remember, and you would have seen this if you've headed over to BitLab Academy, if you've joined us there in the indicators course, there's a Bollinger Band lesson where if you watch that, you know that this line right here in the middle, this is a 20 SMA, the 20 simple moving average. And then these two lines are basically two standard deviations of price action based on the last 20 days, where 95% of all the volatility of price action has been. Okay. So this is why when this is getting, when this is pushing up, when this is moving up very quickly, we see a spread between this and the 20 simple moving average. And we see this riding on the top side of this band before we ultimately get rejected. We also see, look how wide this band is. This width here on the band is also measured right here. You see this line right here? This is a BBW, the Bollinger Band width. Sometimes I use on my charts the BBWP, Bollinger Band width percentage. And what we're seeing is an oscillation of very wide Bollinger Bands, meaning there's been a lot of volatility, a lot of price action, pressing up against this level. And so these are getting wider. And then once the price action starts sort of calming down into the 20 simple moving average, and look at this. Now we're sort of oscillating tighter and tighter. Very big swing, smaller swing, smaller swing, smaller swing. And as this happens, we see this, you see this start inching down like this until we ultimately get to this zone right here where the squeeze on the BBW, the squeeze on the Bollinger Bands is very tight. This means that we've entered to some form of a consolidation around the 20 simple moving average. And we see these lows. Now I want you to notice where we're at right here. You see this level? This is today. This is nowish. 3 days ago. BBW is lower than it's ever been. So this is the tightest squeeze we've had on the 3 week that we've ever had. And what I want you to then notice is on these green dots, when these squeezes happen, what has precipitated from them? Large bull runs. So whatever happens in a multi-$1,000 range right here, I don't care. Any dips at this level for me is ultimately great opportunity. So if Bitcoin is setting up for some major runs, and we're going to need to look at what's happening with the altcoins and see if there's some setups that we could potentially ride the coattails of Bitcoin on these coins that may be setting up for having faster runs. Because then ultimately, whether it's a pre-halving market cycle top pullback and then continuation after the halving, or if it's just up and away from here, we can use our signals to determine that. But when we start taking profits out of these altcoins, say you put $10,000 in an altcoin or in several altcoins, if you do that, and then you start seeing different things run at a much faster pace than Bitcoin because they have smaller market caps, so liquidity that's pouring into them has a stronger effect on their price action, and so they move much quicker. Maybe it's 1x, maybe it's 1.5x, maybe it's 3x. In a way, like Will Clemente said when we had him on this channel for an interview, in a way it's like trading organic leverage, but you got to be smart about it. And this is how you multiply your bags. This is how you multiply your profits in the space and take the profits out of these altcoins and put them back into Bitcoin. And at some, whatever your strategy is, even taking some of those profits, near a market cycle top based on the strategies and indicators that you utilize to really capitalize on making sure that you can squeeze the most juice out of this market. So let's continue on. We got to get into a bunch of TA here in a few minutes. Now, this is something else. Setting up, even though I'm talking about a potential little pullback in Bitcoin, I'm ultimately talking about one of the best bull runs we've ever had in Bitcoin. This is all set up for that. The Bitcoin's free float. I brought this up, I think on Blockchain Basement yesterday, but this is showing basically the reduction of really the short-term holders. It's the lowest it's ever been. So this means, in a way, the inverse of that Bitcoin is the strongest it's ever been as it relates to the type of holders that are basically stacking Bitcoin. This is coins that are being held. The purple is the coins being held by everybody that's not long-term holders, AKA this is short-term holders. So we see, where do short-term holders, AKA the hype cycle buyers, buy? When do they have a lot of supply? Well, look at this. It's near market cycle tops because they're buying the hype. They're waiting for MSNBC to say, oh, Bitcoin just broke a new all-time high. And then, you know, Maria and Santiago and Luis and John and Betty all go, all the people that were saying Bitcoin's a stupid investment. Now that it's breaking all these records, I was like, man, I better get in some Bitcoin and some Doge. No, you're an idiot if you're buying because the news says we broke an all-time high. You don't buy after an all-time high. You know what you do? You buy profits at once you've broken all-time highs based on certain strategies and signals and indicators that you use in your strategy so that you can take profits into the strength of the bull market. You buy profits, AKA you start selling off, you start layering out of your assets when you have a very strong bull market. In fact, if we pull up Glassnode, let me pull it up real quick. You can see this perfectly. This is why I love on-chain data. Let me kind of go to this screen really quick. This is why I love on-chain data. You can see where smart money and dumb money buys perfectly. This is why, by the way, if you're not in BitLab Academy, you can check it out. All the socials are down here, but also it's at bitlabacademy.com. But we have a whole on-chain data course. It's got 19 or 20 different lessons in there breaking down how to identify where we're at in a trend, how strong that trend is, if we're likely going to have a reversal, what smart money does, what dumb money does, etc. So coming over here into Glassnode, I want to go to my favorites, and I want you to see, okay, addresses with 10,000 Bitcoin. We zoom out on this. Why won't it let me zoom out anymore? I think they changed some metrics on here. This is a previous double top we had at 64,000, 68,000. Look at this price point right here. You see where my mouse is? I'm just going to draw this down and see what price level this is at. Well, look at this, 17,000, 18,000. And what was that? That was previous all-time high. And what this orange line shows how many addresses, the number of addresses with 10,000 Bitcoin. So essentially what we're looking at is if somebody has 10,000 Bitcoins, it's 10,000 Bitcoin means you're either an institution or very smart money or somebody that's been in the market for a long time because you're holding from a long time ago. It's one of those three concepts, but it's somebody that has an idea what to do with money to manage it. And so if this is previous all-time high, as soon as this happens, look at this. This orange graph starts dropping. This orange graph is those addresses with 10,000. The number of addresses that have 10,000 is dropping because smart money is selling in. They're taking profit into these hype cycle buyers. Hype cycle buyers, as much as frustrating as it is that they make these poor decisions, in reality, for us to be in a market, for it to sustain in a way that we can be profitable, we have to buy when other people are scared. We have to buy from people willing to sell at stupid prices at near lows. And we need them in the market so that we have their liquidity, their hope buying FOMO. They're what allow us to offload the Bitcoin that we bought lower. They're buying this hype, which gives us somebody to sell to. So while we do need them, I don't want anybody on this channel to be hype cycle buyers. We see this. This indicated sharply that, this is why we also got the rounding top, because as these smart money offloads, this means dumb money buys. Dumb money doesn't have conviction. So any of this little oscillations, there's no conviction. So you get capitulation and you get the price sell-offs. So we could see this in the chart. We can also see, if we look at the R-HODL chart essentially is a ratio of 1 week to 1 to 2 year holders, I believe. So 1 week to 1 to 2 year holders. And so what we're seeing on this chart, let's actually go over to look into Bitcoin, or let's go to Look Node. Go to Look Node. I got to log into this one too. Man, I'm feeling good today, guys. I'm feeling fired up. Okay, coming back over here, looking into Bitcoin. Now let's go to the favorites, go to where's R-HODL? R-HODL, here we go. What this is, this graph specifically, and you can find this on lookintobitcoin.com. You can find it on Check On Chain. And of course, those are both free sites. You can also find it here. Looknode has quite a bit of free metrics as well as a much more affordable membership option than Glassnode and other ones have. But great data. What this is showing is oscillation between longer term holders and very short term holders. So where does a very short term holder spike? Right near tops. You see this? This is when long-term holders the short-term holders are gone here. This is disproportionately mostly long-term holders. And what do we get? We get a floor, and then we have a base to build our tower on, right? Our parabola, our bull market. And then as the bull market goes up, you know, depending on where we're at and what the different strategies are of even some of these long-term holders, people start taking profit into this. And as they take profit, the supply held by longer-term holders goes down. And as they sell, all those coins immediately become short-term holder held coins. And so this graph goes up. So we can tell just based on this oscillation where we're at in a sort of loose sort of strength of a trend. If it's disproportionately being held by a bunch of weak hands, then that means you're likely at which means a market comes, you know, up into this zone. We kind of got a mixed read here. And remember, this was a bit of an anomaly because this is where the Chinese mining ban happened. So the market, this is one of the reasons why so many people were confused, even very smart analysts, why we didn't really make it up to the levels that we wanted to. And part of that is we kind of forgot the fact that, you know, roughly 30% of the mining power hash rate got turned off overnight. And so not only did the mining power get turned off, a big part of the value of the network that is analyzed is how strong the hash rate is, what the difficulty is, what the miner revenue is. Okay. And then not only that, if miners shut down, then that means now they're not making that profits anymore. So now they have to liquidate some of their positions that they're holding to cover the cost of whether it's moving, whether it's just liquidating those businesses, whatever. So this was a bit of a weird top here that didn't fully get reflected. But the point being is when this comes down all the way down to these zones, this is indicating to us that we are in a very strong asymmetric risk opportunity, meaning there's more reward likely than risk present. Okay. And then we come over here to the chart that we were just coming back to this chart, not very many short-term holders. We also see all this, you know, all this bullish sentiment around the ETFs, all this stuff. So we don't need to get into that. So Chainlink, everybody, I'm just going to cover this really quick. They had I think it's a CCIP interoperability protocol or policy, was it? A protocol, yeah. It was live. This kind of gave Chainlink a bit of a jolt. If you're wondering about that, you can look into this. I don't want to really go into the news, right? Because I want to get into these charts. And then we also see, I thought this was funny. FCA warns crypto memes could breach financial promotions rules. Well, I mean, let's be honest. This is kind of one of the most interesting things that has been an evolution in culture, especially digital culture in the last 10 years. I mean, I have some friends that we literally only communicate in memes. Like they'll ask me something and I'll find a meme that, you know, encapsulates the thought or the feeling, whether it's a yes or no, excited, I'm going, what do you do? Like I find like, so this is going to be something that's very hard for them to really crack down on, other than the concept of if the memes are produced and distributed by the central authority or the central management of a particular asset, but then the central management of an asset then really highlights that it could potentially be a security. So, but I didn't want to throw fuel on the fire about the questions about securities, but I just thought this was interesting that I just think it's funny that memes are getting brought up about the financial promotions. Because we also saw, was it about 4 months ago or 8 months ago, something like that, where potentially using particular emojis in Twitter posts could get you slammed for giving financial advice. If you put a token and then you put a rocket next to it, then you're opening yourself up for litigation. It's like get motherfucker. Ooh, about to drop some bombs. Okay, but what is this Golden 7? I wasn't able to look at this, but let's peek at this really quick. Golden 7, no Bitcoin bull has ever taken place without one important signal, the monthly TD sequential 7. So looking at this, let's go ahead and bring it up a little bit larger. So 7, we got a 7 right here. All right. Ever wonder why 2019 failed to produce a fruitful bull market? I mean, this is, I hate this post already. This is stupid. Because this is not accounting for where the pre-halving pumps and potential sell-offs and such. So we're just going to ignore that. Next thing, I just wanted to highlight this because if you have any ability I'm going to put this, let me see. Let me actually see if there is any link here. Here it is. All right. Everybody, go leave. Don't be a jackass. Go leave a comment with substance about why an ETF would be, of benefit to the space and how it would actually be something that gives access and freedom to more. If you have 5 minutes, go and drop a public comment there because I do think it would be interesting. Wait, is that the right link? Yeah, there's comments in here. You just have to figure out which one it is. Yeah. So next thing's up. This is silly. Okay, this is what I want to look at here. So let's go ahead and reload this page into the block. I used to use this a lot, and then for whatever reason, I just kind of forgot about it for a while because I was doing so much other stuff. But I really like this. It also gives a little bit better reading of the coin market cap rankings, but you can also get information about what's going on with different projects. Okay, so we got 47% of the market right now is Bitcoin, 19% Ethereum, 1.25% market, 1.25 not percent trillion market capitalization. But if we come in here and look at Bitcoin, we can see there's 71% in profit at current price, 24% out of profit, 11% held by large holders. And we can look at this. This is very interesting right here. This one right here shows addresses by time held. So we can see, this is wrong. Let me go back to the other look. 69% is 1+ year, 24% is 1 to 12 months, and 6% of the Bitcoin hold is less than 1 month old. So this is really interesting. Now these symbols, this is looking at a bunch of different metrics. I don't really ever utilize this, but let's go ahead and look at the charts. Let's see what's going on here. We got 199 people in the room. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, join us here. We got over 60% of the people watch on a daily basis aren't subscribed to this channel. I want to see it go up by 100 people today. We got a little over 8,000. By the way, if you're watching on one of the other channels, if you're watching on Hit Network, where's my thing? If you're watching on Hit Network or any of the clipped sites, make sure you're heading over to BitLab Academy. It's youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. Join us here. Check out, if you haven't watched this ETF institutional money interview right here in the Daily Alpha playlist, just scroll down like this, you'll see it. This is a great interview that really talks about what could likely happen, what will likely happen with ETFs and what it means for Bitcoin. It's with Dr. Jeff Booth, asset manager. There's a lot of other videos in here you could watch as well. The Pro Trading View guide really shows you how to set up templates, quick keys, a lot of meaningful stuff. And then, so get involved. It's time. Coming up on 11 o'clock. It's time for some TA. So let's go ahead. What I want to do today, we're talking about stacking Bitcoin, but we're going to be looking at a lot of altcoins. Why am I looking at it this way? Because yes, as Will Clemente so eloquently put it, Bitcoin is like a high beta stock, in terms of it can move a lot faster than stocks can traditionally. We've seen over the last 14 years. In the same vein, there's certain altcoins you can utilize, and I wouldn't argue for any altcoin because not everything is a smart investment, but you can utilize altcoins similarly to perform better than Bitcoin and increase your size position in Bitcoin. So in order to do that, what I want to do is we're going to go through a bunch of Bitcoin pair charts with altcoins. And then at the last 5 to 8 minutes of the show, we'll do some traditional TA on Bitcoin USD pairs because I know you all want that. So let me go ahead and zoom out into the chat for just a moment. Let me just see if I miss any special things here. So if you are asking whether it's going to help the space or not, then no, TradFi will not help crypto. If you're asking whether ETFs will help the price, then the answer is that, well, I mean, I do think this is going to help the TradFi space as well, because as Larry Fink put it, and we've all been saying for the last 8 years plus, people in the crypto space, that Bitcoin, I don't think it wasn't quite to the classification yet, 8 years ago, but in the last 4 years specifically, we've really gotten to a market cap valuation and the number of people globally that are aware of it, and as well as having a bit of it doesn't feel stable because of the huge oscillations, but the fundamental framework of Bitcoin and how many people are holding it now, and the way it is engineered with the halving, with mining, with I mean, all the things that are involved, the security of the network, all the things involved. It is, you know, it is ready to be starting to step into the shoes of being a hedge against, you know, different international currencies as well as investment portfolios. So let me go and scroll back, see if there's anything else. Company, I need your wisdom because you. Okay. I don't know. Going to make history. What do you think Bitcoin ordinals? I like the fact that it's going to drive a little bit of innovation. I'm a little skeptical on some of the stuff. We don't need to create things just because another project has it. So because the Ethereum has NFTs, we don't need to also have NFTs on Bitcoin. In some ways, it muddies the waters. On the other hand, it creates a very immediate use case to stress test the network, especially for congestion and other things within Bitcoin. But I do, all in all, I think it's a net positive thing. I'm not investing in any, but all right, let's go ahead and jump onto the charts here. All right. So we're going to do some Bitcoin pairs. So let me go out of this. Let's go over to this chart right here. We're going to let's do Ethereum. Ethereum BTC. Ethereum. And by the way, oh man, I don't know. I think it was, what is her name? I can't remember what her name was. Oh, you know who it was? What? Cannot remember her dang name. I'm not gonna be able to find it. Essentially, the number, there was a very important cross that happened. I don't know where. It's gonna be way far back. I just can't remember her name. If I could remember her name, I'd be able to pull it up almost immediately. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what her dang name is. Starts with the E. Was it Emmy Aether? No, it doesn't matter. Let's just look at the charts. There's a very important cross that's happening on some fundamental data metrics with Ethereum, where I think it's the number of staked coins is crossing over the number of available Ethereum on exchange, I believe it was. It just basically had to do with supply and demand. So just, you know, so Ethereum is looking on its own, is looking very strong going into this next cycle. But looking at this, let's come out to the daily. Okay, let's see what we got. Consolidation here. And remember, when I'm looking at these charts are the Bitcoin pair. So if we see a bullish setup, a bullish setup in a Bitcoin pair, that is suggesting that the breakout on that chart or on that asset is setting up to move faster than Bitcoin. Does that make sense? So it doesn't mean Bitcoin's not going to go up, but it's setting up to where this asset may move faster than Bitcoin is. They could both be going up at the same time. If this is setting up in a bullish setup, they still could both be going up on the US dollar pairing, but it means if it's setting up in a bearish setup and it breaks out bearish on the Bitcoin chart, then that means, and on the US dollar chart, they're both going up. It means that likely Bitcoin is going to be outpacing that asset. So what we want to do is we want to see if there's any setups that are through the mini alts that we look at on a daily basis that may be setting up to run yet compared to Bitcoin. So looking at this chart, and by the way, you guys are starting to see some of the massive updates we're doing to the BitLab trading stack. We got the BitLab Trend Fuel down here, which really consolidates a lot of information rather than having it on multiple different charts. And we also have, of course, all of our divergences. You see right here, if you just put your mouse over the over the numbers. It tells you how many divergence, and then it gives you, that way you don't have flags over the chart. But then we have actual signals here that suggests something that may be happening based on price action at certain levels. You see these shift and reversal symbols. We also have strong signals, which we're still trying to fix because they're not working exactly how I want them to yet. But looking at this, okay, we've got a bit of, it looks like we have a bit of either a falling channel or a falling wedge. Let's see how this shapes out right here. So this is not quite there. This is maybe on the top of this. Yeah, that's what it is right there. All right. So what this is, we got a falling wedge, very loose falling wedge. Why do I say loose? Because it's not really angled how I want it. It is angled to the downside. It's consolidating into this zone. But if we sort of extrapolate this further out, I want to just see where these 2 points meet in apex. It's right about here. This apex is all the way in April of 2024. Does this mean I think this is going to consolidate all the way into that? Not necessarily. Price action tends, when you're going into shapes like this, patterns on a chart, tends to go about 68, 70, 75% of the way through. Somewhere in about this region here is likely going to be where the breakout is. Now, this is a bullish structure. Now, not only is it a bullish structure, we're on the lower side of the structure and working our way up. So the question is this going to kind of work its way up to here, reject back down, and then break out? Or is this going to not even have is this going to be a sort of failed rally as it is and come back down and test this lower bound? Well, we're going to have to see. But as it looks right now, we do see, look at this. We got a very strong wave with a small wave right here on the momentum sort of aggregate that we have here. The money flow, which is, the money flow is a purple and the blue. And we have different colors on it when it's neutral, this yellow color. But this is looking like it was a setup, which perfectly hit right here. However, this is already, we got to see what this next close is, if this is starting to round out, if this is, which is likely to happen because of this price action pulling back. But this is also looking a little bit like we barely have a higher high here, but this is looking a little bit like a bull flag right here. So let's get some better resolution. 4-hour chart, better resolution. Okay, come on. There we go. So we've got the flag. If this were a bull flag, let's see what the target would be if this were a bull flag. We take this from the flagpole. We have our, this would take us all the way up into the 66.49. Remember, we're looking at the Bitcoin pair. So what would this mean as it relates to Bitcoin? If this were to break out bullishly, this would be a 5%, basically a 5% growth against Bitcoin holdings. All right. So you could trade this and if this were to break out like this, this would suggest that this is going to move at a 5% faster pace than Bitcoin in terms of profitability. Now, if this loses this level, in this case right now, this is actually looking relatively bullish because it's pushed up. We're consolidating down into the flag part of the bull flag. But then this had a push up, a little bit of a pullback, almost like a tiny little cup and handle. Let's see if that is a cup and handle. It's kind of, but this is a little too long. But look at this. We do have on this 30-minute chart, we do have inverse head and shoulders. We have this little shoulder, head. We have another shoulder here. And if this smaller time frame breakout were to appear, this would be a basically breakout, not very large. I mean, this would be a very, very minuscule breakout. This would be about 0.29%. So what we really want to do when we're looking at this is we want to identify when the price, come on chart, there we go. We want to identify when this gets up to this level up here. For me, this is kind of I don't need to trade these little zones here. I want to see when this price action gets up, and whether it's here or this comes back down and is over here, when the price action is potentially going to break this, that's when I'm looking at, that's when I'm looking at trading a breakout into Ethereum. So this doesn't look like it's giving a lot. It's not giving a lot of leeway to Bitcoin at the moment. There's a little bit of a setup here, but there's a lot of work to be done. So let's go on to the next one. ADA, ET. Cardano. Remember, this is Bitcoin pair charts. So we're going like this. I don't know why every single time. I think I saved it with it. Ah, man. Turn off these diamonds. Dots. Save. And delete. Hold on, I'm just resetting this really quick. Save. Reload. Cardano. We did some updates. I'm just trying to make sure the updates are on here before I save. Come on. There we go. Oh, cancel. Wait. Save. All right. So look at this downtrend we have on the Cardano Bitcoin pair. Now this has been crushed. Man, right now we're about 83% down between the low on the Cardano Bitcoin pair. So if this were to just go back to its previous level, we're not talking about US dollar price. Come on, you damn measuring stick. That is a 500x. Sorry, it's a 5x, 500%. It's not a 500x. It's a 5x just to get to the previous all-time high of what Cardano would be in relationships to its value against Bitcoin. So if this starts running and price is going up, then you're not only getting a 5x on its value. If this really breaks out and makes its way back up to this previous all-time high, you're getting a 5x on value as it relates to Bitcoin, as well as what it relates to what's going on in the US dollar. So if this, say, for instance, goes up to $3, then you're getting a 10x on the US dollar valuation. But if you're also seeing, if you're trading this breakout on Bitcoin, then you're also being able to take advantage of when you do harvest profits off of this, especially if you're doing it into your long-term HODL portfolio, then you're also seeing not only a higher value for some of the potential fiat profits you want to take to put in your bank account to take your wife or your boyfriend or your mom on a trip. You're also seeing the value raise against Bitcoin and US dollars. So this is looking very sexy. When we look at this as it is right now, this is looking still a little bit suppressed, because if we take this option F, top to bottom, look at this. Even on the Bitcoin chart, not just the US dollar chart, look at how this performed on this chart. Breakdown from this point, retrace right into the golden pocket. So be aware of what's going on the US dollar chart, absolutely. But make it part of your strategy, at least once a week, if not, every few days, looking at those assets that you're looking at buying. If you're about to buy it, if you're about to buy an asset because it looks good on a US dollar chart, try to identify also looking at the US dollar chart and then pulling up the Bitcoin chart pairing of whatever asset you're looking at, so you can see, okay, this has been suppressed on US dollar, and it's also fallen pretty hard on the Bitcoin pair. And this is tried to have a little bit of a resurgence. Currently, this is in a bull flag. So what I'd like to see, if I was trying to identify the best spot to, the best spot to trade this, look at this for when this actually retests this level here. Look at this. We have two resistance zones right here. These order blocks from the BitLab volume. See these order blocks right here? Also great resistance zones. I'd like to see this pair, which we do have a bit of a bull flag currently, but this flag is half the pole, so I'm not really sure about this. If this doesn't find a bounce here, then this very well could be a continued down trend on Cardano. So this is looking a little, this has a lot of room to run, but this is not looking like it's prepared to make that move yet. There's a little bit of work to be done getting up into here. Now, looking at if this were to fall, then, it'd be down here to the 870 sort of zone, which is another. That's a 15% fall against Bitcoin. So if it were to do that, and this is looking a little unlikely because we got higher low right here. Let's see. Maybe it works its way down into this zone here, and then this bounce up into this zone, and then maybe it's liftoff for Cardano. It kind of gives you a good time scale, and I don't know why, but charts tend to line up with what's going on with what's in the news. Isn't it funny how there'll be like a key setup that like compresses right into a zone, and then right when it would have had to break out anyway, the major news hits? It's almost as if there's some sort of time Fibonacci going on about when certain events around the world happen, and news breaks on some sort of periodic natural regularity of, time intermittence that also plays out into the psychology of what's happening in the charts? I don't know what the answer is, but it's a regular thing. So let's go ahead and look at Matic. Matic BTC. Looks exactly the same as Bitcoin. This has a little bit less of a, this is not as defined. We can kind of do a couple. It kind of looks like this. Yeah. Look at this. Rejection, support, rejection, rejection. This kind of cuts through it. Rejection, rejection. So this is kind of already at the line, and we can draw this a couple ways because one of these lines might not be correct, but it's still the same from this point to this point. This is looking like it's trying to work its way up. It is, but this also is a broadening wedge here like this. So is there a little bit of weakness in this potential bullish setup? Yes, and it's par for the course with all the uncertainty in the markets. Momentum, look at this. Momentum is fully up. It's trying to roll over here. The money flow is still negative. That's why it's purple. Positive is when it's blue. We can see 4 hours. Okay, it's still looking like it's trying to expand to the downside. Came down, lower high. Sorry, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Where is this going to bounce? That's the question. Also go option. Lost that level as well. So this is looking like probably a little bit more of a further pullback on the Matic pairing for the Matic Bitcoin pairing. When this does break out though, when it breaks this level, which is perfectly in line with breaking through this order block zone right here as well, then we have a pretty quick move. Just notice this. You have a pretty quick move from this zone. If it's, let's say it happens over here, that's a 20% move up to the next levels of resistance, which is kind of in line with these lows and this order block all right in here. That's about a 15 to 20% move just on the pairing against Bitcoin. That's not even speaking of what the pairing on US dollar would be. So this is looking, it's working its way up there with uncertainty. We could tell by this broadening wedge, while also, a little bit of lack of clarity about what's happening with, okay, XRP was not security. Is the SEC going to start swinging a grudge stick around, being a lot more aggressive because now he lost, a big battle? He's going to have to save face a little bit. That's a potential. I think a lot of people are aware of that. We also have the FOMC meeting coming up next week. So there's a little bit of hesitation in markets. Even with bullish impulses, there's still some hesitation going on in markets. So let's look at, what's another one we can look at? Okay, CAS. Quarter crawler says CAS. Let's look at CAS. CAS BTC. There's no pairing. No pairing. Go back and look at some of the coins that you guys called out. Crypto Crabman, watching since you've been on Jeb. Well, hey, I appreciate you being with me on this long journey. Thank you. How many people in the room were watching back when it was almost 2 years ago now? That's also where I met Tim. I brought Tim on over here once he went free agent. Okay, where are these? Find y'all. It doesn't. There's so many coins. We can just do some coins. Let's do Atom. We haven't done Atom in a while. Atom BTC. Look at this long sideways consolidation as it relates to Bitcoin. Option T. This is stair stepping down. Is this going to be another stair step? If so, then this is a level I'm really watching. This is a current sort of lows right here. Is there a level right here? Let's see if this, yes, there is. So boom, boom. Look at this. This is exactly where we're finding resistance. We break through this. The next level up is right here, option J. And so what we can do is, remember, this is a Bitcoin pairing. If this breaks this zone, there's a lot of resistance in the zone from this liquidity magnet, this order block here on the BitLab volume. If this breaks through here, up to this next level is 18%. This seems consistent across the board with a lot of the alts. The next move above that is kind of probably somewhere in these regional highs here, 26 to 31%. Next move up is from down here is a 64% move. This means if you were to buy this breakout and hold this up here to take profits, not only would the price in US dollar value be going up, whatever, say you bought $5,000 worth of Atom right here on the breakout, and the price of Atom went up on US dollars, I don't know, 6x, right? That's $30,000 now you have. But that also means that if this were to performing this well against Bitcoin, then you also have 67% more buying power to buy Bitcoin with. So you can buy more Bitcoin than you would have with that $5,000, even on the lows, having bought it lower. This is why you want to look at these pairs. Okay. Now let's do another one. Quant. We've been talking about quant a bit lately. Let's look at it. Let's look at the Bitcoin pairing. Woo-wee. Long downward consolidation. Getting some levels here. Okay, now this has not really formed a strong base like I like on the other ones where you had a lower low and then a higher low. This kind of does a little bit right here, but let's get down to the 8 hour. We got a little bit of a W pattern here. The next level up is directly above us at that order block. And that's, we're sitting right here. Look at this. We're sitting right here on these lows. Once quant starts moving against Bitcoin, it's probably going to have a pretty big move. It's kind of, I don't want to say being suppressed. It's having a little bit of pressure right here on these previous lows. When this does start moving, the next level up is 5%, next level 9%, and then up to that ultimate target for the true breakout of quant against Bitcoin is a 20% move between here and there. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't trade this, but it does mean to be a little bit cautious because we do have this level right here. So not only is it this lows, but we also have this level confirmed here, and confirmed here again, being a known resistance level. So if we're able to consolidate into here and break out, quant could be moving. But what does it look like on the quant US dollar chart? Let's look at that. Quant US dollar, it's very similar. It's basically came down into a double bottom right here, finding support on these previous lows. If this starts moving up, then we'll be looking, the first target would be this point of control, $1.05. Next target being up here at $1.12. Next target being up here at $1.20. Not $1, 120. If we lose this level, the next level is directly below us, 98. If we lose that, I think there's probably gonna be a little bit more cascading price action to the downside. Coming down here to 95, potentially lower, all the way, potentially even down to this 73 low, which would be these previous highs. And this, look at this. There's a hesitation here. It came back, retested it. So if quant starts falling, that's the level we're looking at. But this is looking somewhat strong here. However, this is also a bit of a, so this is what we want to see. If this is going to hold here, I want it to hold above this support line and, work its way up to here, break this level. If it breaks this level, it's almost more important than breaking this previous high. If it breaks this level, this is a trend line that goes all the way back to February of this year. So, 5 months or so. So we want to see it break this level at the $1.07 mark. If it goes, basically it goes at an angle, $1.06, $1.07. That's what 106, 107. Sorry for saying dollar. Now let's go ahead and do some TA on the traditional assets. We're going to finish with Bitcoin. Let's do, I think you guys had asked for Algo at the early birds. All you guys that came from 10 to 10:15 got to get that call out for some of the coins you wanted to see. I know you said Algo, you said Immutable X, and you said, I'll have to look back. There's a couple others that you said. Okay, option T. Got this trend line right here. This goes a little higher. Yeah, so here we go. Now let's go zoom this in. We're on the 8 hour. Okay, that's a good chart to look at. Okay, we got a bit of a consolidation range here, but we also have these candle bodies that are finding, see how there's a wick and then there's also candle bodies like this. So there's a kind of a zone right around these that this is bouncing at. So two little levels to watch. We do have a double top here, but it also came into this level of resistance. So I want to see if this does break down. I don't want to see it break below. Let's go ahead and adjust this so it's more in line with, there we go. If this does break down, I don't want to see it break below 10.7. If it loses this level, it's actually relatively weak. It may bounce here, but it may even move lower. I want to see it bounce above the 10.6 to 10.7 range and then work its way back up to 12 cents here, which is also the point of control on this range. This is what this teal line is. See that line that's coming out? This line is a point of control where the most volume was traded at this price level right here. Now, if this does work its way back up here to the 12.2 range, 12.2 cents, then next level up is basically about 13 cents, and then 14 cents, and then up here to 15.3. And this is kind of the zone right here. Yes, if this happens, I will say, if this happens, this level right here is going to be very important. Basically 14 cent range, very important because it's not only the high that we'd be trying to battle through of this local range, but it's also, this would effectively mean that we have fully formed double bottom W pattern, which is like this. And this neckline right here would be the key to identifying, not only do we break out of this smaller time downtrend resistance, but this is a bigger, more important pattern here, this W. Breaking out of this will be important, sure. But we want to actually really break this level right here, which is right at 14 cents. If we do that, then I think there's going to be a lot of positive initiative. We can actually see the momentum building up here where this is deeper and this is a little bit smaller. We want to see what happens on the next. I do think there's going to be a little bit more work done in here before that breakout happens. So that's what I'm seeing on Algorand. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Coming back over here. AVAX had a bit of a consolidation that's actually broken down. So this is not feeling super good. If this can't hold this sort of zone right here, the 786, then I think there's a little bit of a rollover happening and potentially further down. However, it does look like the momentum is starting to roll out here a little bit, the volatility to the downside is slowing down. That's what this is indicating. And so if this does find support here, which is on this high right here, if this does find support here and work its way back up, all good. If we lose that level, then I'm looking at not only, the 13.52, but potentially coming down to this 12.85. If we lose this level, then I do think that this is actually coming back much lower, likely down to the 11s. If we bounce here, then we have to pay attention. We also have this. We also have this sort of. We can extend this downtrend level. Where is it at? This downtrend level of resistance here, like this. So this is rejected. This broke out above it, came back down below it. It just looks like uncertainty right here. This looks a little bit uncertain. If this does break back above this and breaks this level right here, which is 14.54, I do think we'll actually see a little bit more price action up to retest this level up here at 15.83. XRP, golly, this is just holding on to being I might have to do a little bit of a DCA into this. Because this, yes, it had a big breakout, but now it's having a fully formed, look at this, fully formed bull flag. Look at this strong, look at this strong signal right here. Signal is from the BitLab intelligence. It's just identifying that there's a number of different metrics that are hit that are suggesting, yes, this is likely a strong buy. And we can see right here, this did have this massive push up. It went all the way up to this level up here at 94 cents, but now we have this massive bull flag. So if this were to break out, then we take this, we can just go to, rather than going all the way to the top of the wick, we'll just go to the top of this pattern. Just be a little conservative. Come on, buddy. There you go. This breakout would be, target would be up here at $1.33. That would be a pretty nice move. I don't think this is going to just rocket. I think if this does break out to the upside, we'll likely get a little bit of resistance right about where this wick is, 96 cents to a dollar. Because the dollar is a pretty big mark, and then likely continuation of the upside. As it stands right now, though, I will say, looking at this 4 hour, the momentum is come down quite a bit. So we want to see what goes on there with, yeah, look at this, the RSI. RSI is angled sharply down. And look at this. We can see that this RSI, I don't know if you can see it. There's an RSI back here in the back. And this is kind of getting rejected here. So is this going to finally break out of this? Right now, it's looking a little suppressed. Money flow is up, but we're starting to see the money flow trickle down as well. Now, last things last, we're going to look at number one big dog, Bitcoin, Big Daddy-O. Okay, let's go to the 4 hour. Look at this. Money flow is choppy, is irrelevant. Momentum is increasing to the downside. So let's go ahead and look at this. 29. We talked about this. If it loses this level, it's looking like it's trying to. This came up, rolled over immediately. If we lose this level, especially on a 4 hour candle closure, which is in 30 minutes, I do think that this is likely, even if it comes down, retest and hit at least one of these targets. This is my ultimate target down here. Actually, because of where this support line is up, it probably will front run this and be down here at about 27.8. That's what I'm looking at. But any downtrend in price right now, based on where we're at in the cycle, remember, is ultimately bullish. So take advantage of these dips. Take advantage of what your strategy is, what your risk exposure, what your tolerance is. Don't get yourself out of position just because there is a potential setup that I talk about or that Jason Casper talks about or that anybody talks about. Figure out what works for you in your timeline. And if you feel like you missed the boat a while back, maybe there's an opportunity to, add to those positions. You're going to have to identify that with your own strategy. But with that, I love you all. I'm going to head over to BitBoy Crypto to do some TA on the show, break things down. So get in there, drop some lab codes, be positive. Head over to bitlabacademy.com if you haven't yet. Use Give Me 30 for 30% off your first month if you sign up, if you do the enroll now on the top right. There's also a free section there if you want to share it with your friends and family. All they have to do is sign up for the free things, no cost. They get crypto, Bitcoin 101, blockchain 101, crypto beginners course. If you want to take it all access, do the all access, 30% off for the first month. Give me 30. But you can also sign up for BitLab Pro, which is about 30% off everything together every month. That doesn't even need a coupon code. It's just, if you are currently already a member and you only have all access, you want to upgrade, you actually get 50% off your first month automatically applied. So just shout out there. Big love to all of you. Hope you all have a wonderful day. I will see you over there in BitBoy Crypto. And with that, adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Hit that like button, sucker.